Hey friends, and welcome to the Mind and Body Strong podcast, a place for women to redefine their relationship with food and their bodies, tune into their inner wisdom, and become the best version of themselves. I'm your host, Katie Pichanowski, a health and mindset coach, intuitive eating and health at every size advocate, nap queen, and bookworm. Join me each week for empowering conversations, stories, and actual steps to help you master your mindset and drop the obsession around food and your body so you can love the skin you're in. I can't wait to guide you towards unlocking your highest potential. And that journey starts right now. Let's jump in. Good morning, my friends, or afternoon, or evening, or whenever you're listening to this podcast. I'm really excited today to share with you today 5 steps to rewire your old patterns. Now, this is a really fantastic system. You can really use this system when you're trying to make changes in any area of your life. This could be money, career, it could be health, it could be relationships, connection to something greater. It can really apply to anything that you're trying to change. And really that change, like I always talk about in this podcast, is it's about taking action, but it's also about rewiring these old thought patterns and beliefs. That's really where it starts, because that is what drives our feelings, drives our actions, and produces our results. So today I want to share with you something, a kind of like a structure to take yourself through to be able to rewire these old patterns in a way that helps you really understand yourself in a better way so that you can go about these changes and not have them feel like chores. You can really start to understand and appreciate where you're at now and where you need to be and how you can accomplish that, okay? Does that sound good? Awesome. So I also do have in the description of this podcast a quick little worksheet I made up with additional questions for you to ask yourself if you're looking to rewire old patterns and make a change in your life. I listed some different journal prompts and just questions you can ask yourself to really get a deeper understanding of what it is that you want, why you want it, what needs to change, what's going well in your life right now, and all different kinds of questions to really help you dive deeper. So make sure to check that out in the link in my description so you can grab that worksheet. It's going to be really helpful as we go through this process. Okay, so step number 1 to rewiring your old patterns is step back. So stepping back means to get distance from the current situation or emotional state, to no longer be in the situation, to become the observer and distance yourself from the situation so you can gain a new perspective and allow more choices and possibilities to come into your life. A lot of times when we're making changes, we want to just jump in and do the actions and just hustle and grind it out, which I'm not going to say is necessarily a bad thing. But oftentimes when we're just so ingrained in our own whatever we're doing, that action, we might neglect to see a lot of other possibilities and choices that we have around us in that moment because we're so focused in on one thing. And if we're only focused on it has to happen this way, we're going to miss out on so many other options and possibilities and perspectives that are already around us. This is something that I definitely did. I was so committed to a certain way of my results being conquered, and I would be so committed to that I would not allow any room for my brain to think about what other possibilities could be. So this is a really fantastic way to, again, just gain that vantage point. I like to give you a visual. This is what really helps me, is to imagine you're in a city. You have all these skyscrapers around us. So I'm from Chicago, so we'll use Chicago. You're in the streets of Chicago. You're surrounded by skyscrapers. You're on the street. You can really only see the buildings that are around you and the cars that are in front of you on the street and the people that are in front of you on the street. And you don't really see many other options. Maybe you're trying to get someplace. You don't really know the best way to go because you can only see really what's in front of you. Now imagine you're in the same exact physical spot, but you're at the top of the skyscraper next to you. Now, from this new vantage point in the same technically a physical spot, you have this new vantage point where you're able to see, oh, there's, 3 different routes I can get to where I need to go. But I could only see that because I allowed myself this vantage point. So whenever I'm going through something difficult and I'm having trouble with it, I really imagine myself going from the street level to the skyscraper level and really starting to see what the real possibilities are that I could check out and what I can try to help me accomplish whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. Step number 2 in rewiring your old patterns is to let go. Let go of what's holding you back, things that you can't control. That's a big one. And transformation is just a continual process of letting go. That's something that I've really learned throughout the last year of rewiring my own beliefs to help create new ones. And the thing about this one is it's like when you bring new furniture into your home, but you haven't cleared out all of the old furniture. So now you just really don't have anywhere to go because you have all this old furniture and now you're trying to replace it with this new furniture and it's just like a hot mess. It'd be a lot better to just remove those old ones and bring the new ones in and not have so much of this chaos. Letting go is a little bit like that, where you really need to let go of all of these expectations. I talk a lot about this in different podcasts. Let go of circumstances. Circumstances, again, are something that we can't control. If your friend decides to say mean things to you, that stings, but you can't control that, right? So we need to let go of that expectation. We need to let go of the fact that circumstances just happen, and a lot of times we can't control them. But what we do get to control is how we handle them, right? This was one that took me a really long time because I just wanted to hang on to whatever it is that I thought was getting in the way. And I wanted to hang on to my old belief systems because they were familiar. And even though they weren't helping me advance, they were something I knew for so long. They were my programming from when I was young. And it just felt like something that was familiar again. And when you're working to make a change and rewire all these thought processes and beliefs, it can be kind of chaotic in your brain. Your brain is like, danger, like, I don't like change, stop it. And things like that start to happen. So letting go is really helping you to be able to release all of that. And some of the things that you might need to let go in order to move forward is maybe attitudes that you have towards people or situations. Maybe you need to let go of old belief systems that are no longer serving you and helping you move forward. Maybe you need to let go of a situation that's happened to you. I think letting go also includes forgiveness. I'm going to insert that part because that's been really helpful for my journey, is looking at situations and maybe even people who were unkind to me in my life and forgiving those circumstances, forgiving those people, forgiving myself in those situations where maybe I didn't make the best choices. So I think forgiveness is also a really great part of this letting go process because it allows you to, again, let go. When you can forgive something that you've been hanging on to for so long and let it go, you can now widen your range of possibilities like we did in Step Back, okay? Number 3, say yes to self. Say yes to yourself, girl. This one I think is very hard for us females. A lot of times we're people pleasers. We want to do what everyone else wants to do, and we don't often take the time to sit down and ask ourselves, what is it that I truly, truly want? Why do I want it? What stops me from getting there? And what can I do? Again, going back up that model is what can I do to step back and let go of situations so that I can say yes to myself? So say yes to yourself is deciding to connect to what's true for you right now. So this can change in the different seasons of your life. So you don't have to worry about setting something and worrying if it's going to last you the next 50 years. This is something that really changes as we change, which is wonderful. And through this process, we're also working to anchor in your new beliefs and decide what's true for you. Discover how to say yes to your truth without feeling risky or unsafe. So when we feel like we're in danger, obviously we're not going to do something, right? Like we're not going to put ourselves in danger. So if we can say yes to ourselves in a way that we know we're going to be safe. And this, I'm not talking about really necessarily like a catastrophic danger. I'm talking about if you make this change, maybe your fear is that your friends won't accept you anymore. And that is a real fear. That seems very risky and unsafe, that you would lose your current friends by following a dream that you might have. And that's something I worked through myself. But when you can make these shifts and do it in a way, that feels more safe, you're going to be more likely to do them. So maybe you find a new group of people who are also pursuing the same kind of goals that you're out to accomplish, and you're surrounding yourself with those types of people so that you have this support system to help you through because they're doing the same type of things. So that's just one possibility. And I also have another really great resource for this one on how to say yes to yourself by just putting in more daily self-love activities. So I'll also list that in the description so you can take a look at that one. Number 4 is take empowered action. This is oftentimes where when we want to make change, this is the place we start, which again, like I said, is not necessarily wrong. But if we want to consistently see that change flow over a long period of time, we really need to take all those steps before of stepping back, letting go, say yes to yourself so you can rewire your old beliefs so that your new beliefs are now driving this new inspired action to get the results that you want. So with take empowered action, you're creating action steps from a place of alignment and not fear. Actions from scarcity versus from abundance. So you want to take action from abundance. If you're always feeling like there's never enough or I'm never going to get to the goal, which is more of like a scarcity mindset, it's going to really start to hold you back. And that's where you need to go back to letting go of what can I let go of in this situation, which would in that terms be a belief system that you can't do it unless you have certain circumstances in place. So maybe you need to let go of that old belief and tune into something that's more serving to you, which is something like, I'm capable of doing anything I set my mind to. That's one of the affirmations that I've been using lately. Maybe if you tuned into an affirmation like that, it would feel a lot better to help drive you to taking that inspired action. So maybe it's starting that business. Maybe it's reaching out to that girl or guy that you really wanted to go on a date with. Maybe it's finally taking a look at your finances and really getting serious and honest about where they're currently at so you can get yourself out of debt, so you can save for vacations, whatever that might be. But if you're revolving still around these old beliefs that you can't do it or that you're not worth it, it's going to be a lot harder to take these empowered actions from a place of abundance and not scarcity, okay? Really important about that scarcity abundance part of it. And number 5 of this process is to set up accountability. I talked a little bit about this in the Say Yes to Yourself, but setting up accountability really helps you to make it inevitable that these action steps that you just did in step 4 take place and move you closer to the outcome that you want. So again, I will reiterate that surrounding yourself with other people, whether it be people online, people in local groups, and finding yourself new friend groups, maybe hiring a coach, maybe taking some kind of course that allows a community of people who are doing similar things. That can be a really, really great way for you to be around people who are already embodying the beliefs that you wish to bring into your own life. So that allows you to, again, see that it is safe because all these other people in your group, they're doing awesome and they have these belief systems that you want and it's working out really well for them. So you can start to see and convince your brain that, hey, this is safe to believe. And now I have these people around me who are going to keep me accountable for letting go of those old beliefs so that I can say yes to myself and take empowered action towards the results that I want to create. So again, I'm going to reiterate those 5 steps to rewiring old patterns for you. Step 1 is step back. Step 2, let go. Step 3, say yes to yourself. Step 4, take empowered action. And step 5, set up accountability. You guys, like I said, I have a couple of worksheets available for you in the show notes. So make sure to check those out if you're interested in the journal prompts and questions to kind of dive deeper into what it is you want and how to better step back, let go, say yes to yourself, take empowered action, and set up accountability. I have lots of questions there for you to reflect on. And I also have the Say Yes to You guide, which really helps you to find some different self-care activities that will help you say yes to yourself every single day. So that's super, super awesome. I love those resources, and I hope you guys love them too. But thank you so much for listening into this podcast. And if you loved this episode, please make sure to take the time to leave a review. I really love these reviews. Whenever I go on there and I see a new one, it just lights my heart up that this information is connecting with you and serving you. And I want to know which episodes are really speaking to you the most so that I can continue to create more content like that, or even bring on guest speakers that can speak more on those topics so that you guys can continually get more information to help you transform your life from the inside out. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you on next week's podcast. Thank you so much for listening into the Mind and Body Strong podcast. You are what makes this movement and message possible. Before you go, could you do me a favor and leave me a review on iTunes? This is how the podcast can be discovered by more people and impact even more lives. And don't forget to tag me in your Instagram stories at Katie Pijanowski so I can see what you're listening into. I love you all so much, and I'll catch you again on next week's episode.